the latest news. Let's go Rangers.
Blueshirt Underground, motherfucker!
Can't be as a Ranger fan. Can't be as a Ranger fan.
This is an unlawful gathering. This is an unlawful gathering. The truth is out there. The truth is out there.
This is the underground. This is new media. This is the underground. This is new media.
Ranger fans, report to the critical thinking hangar. Ranger fans, report to the critical thinking hangar.
And now here is the starting lineup for the New York Rangers. And now here is the starting lineup for the New York Rangers.
This is New York Rangers hockey. 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 This is
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Blueshirt Underground Show. Today is Wednesday. It is December 22nd. My name is Jim, and as always, I am joined on the other side of the window by the one and only Eddie Geik. Eddie, good evening. Merry
Christmas to you.
How are you this evening?
I am doing wunderbar. Happy Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah, happy Christmas, happy.
Are you excited for Christmas?
Was? Well, my wife's got a little bit of a cold. It's non-COVIDia, but our plans were to go up to Pennsylvania again, but maybe thwarted. So,
canceled your plans due to the COVIDs?
Hey, it's no big deal, yo. I will certainly see my cousins maybe the next week. Because, once you have a cold nowadays, everybody's like wary. You get negative. You really don't, you don't know. People are sneezing. It's in the back of your head.
Oh, yeah. Well, when can we normalize sneezing again?
I know. We always kind of, he's got a cold. I'll stay away from him. And if I'm flexing a lot, it's not because I want to show off my biceps. Still having problems with the left arm. But going to PT 109.
How many people in the chat room got tickets to the gun show? Here it is.
But I'm working on it. It's feeling better. But if you see me grunting and groaning and moving the left arm, I'm not trying to posture. But yeah, the wife's a little under the weather, and we don't want to subject other people to the stress. This is going to be babies around and all that stuff. So right now, it looks like Christmas is fucking canceled.
Christmas,
but I'm not like, it's not a big deal for me. I know what I'm getting. You got children and that stuff. I do love this. A snow effect isn't
this great?
It's great. I really love it. So, whoa, Sean McCaff, the Don Murdoch, the cocaine joke still looming from 1982. God, you really just. I think I'm on the 10-day disabled list. This has been a long process of rehabilitating. And I asked the guy, my physical therapist, I know we're not talking about hockey right now. We're getting all caught up with the personals.
We're in a pause.
I'm like, what causes? Yeah, we're in a pause.
We're in a pause.
I said, what causes this? And he says, inactivity. Well, so I got plenty of that. So I got to get more active. So I think what it is I spend so much time on the computer that I'm leaning and my posture is bad. Like I should be like this.
Right.
And I'm always leaning forward and putting pressure. Who gives a fuck, really? Who really gives a fuck about my ailments, ladies and gentlemen?
I do. I mean, let's be honest. 50% of Eddie Geik is better than 100% of any other fucking co-host on this planet.
Thank you so much.
But I need you healthy. I need you at 100%.
Well, I'm on the mend. I've got no, I do not watch porn, which is weird from a guy my age. I'm constantly doing stupid hobby stuff, which I will be talking about a little bit later. I'm going to send Jim a link for my new project. I am lifting up another podcast that I am going to do to the Jared Stoll tribute show. No, I'll be doing some other venture and hope to have Jim on from time to time. Thank you, Patty Duke. Thank you. Anyway, any way you slice it, I'm back. I'm ready for Christmas. I'm ready to talk Ranger hockey, Z-Man. I'm ready to talk about it all. I even prepared a wheel of blame, which for some reason, technical difficulties, we may have to go old-fashioned where I just show it to the screen. I don't have the technology with me to share the screen with my 2-camera operation here, but we'll get to that. And we'll get back to the Rangers. Jim, let me just start off. I can't believe we're at another fucking pause. This so disheartening. Just so disheartening.
I can't, I don't understand it. I don't understand. I don't want to go, as Dennis Miller would say, I don't want to go off on a rant here, but I don't understand one fucking thing that's gone on in this world since last March. It doesn't make sense. It hasn't made sense from the beginning. It continues to not make sense. I posted something on Facebook today that makes as much sense as anything. This COVIDia can get through 3 vaccines, but not through your Old Navy fucking mask. I mean, we did our part. We got our vaccines. We wore our masks. We took a year and a half to slow the curve, and now we're still losing hockey games. We got replacement players on football teams. We're canceling things left and right. The WHO is saying, "Oh, don't get together for the holidays." Right here.
Yeah, it's
right here. I'm done with it. I'm done. It's enough.
Well, I don't blame you. The frustration is high. They're taking away a lot of things that we love. We love getting together with the loved ones for most of us. And they're taking away our beloved sports. I said a very selfish thing the other day, and I don't care. I said, you fuck with a lot of things, but you fuck with my hockey, I really get fucking perturbed. I know there's, this variant or whatever is happening is not really killing anybody. It's not really sending many people to the hospital. At least that's what I'm informed with. Come up with some statistics, whatever you want. That's my general overview of what's going on.
That seems to be the general consensus that it's a more mild variant. But
how? I mean, again, I'm just going to say this once, and I'm not going to talk about it. But how different is this mild variant from the common flu? Like they never shut down the league before because people got flu
or the common cold.
Right. It ran through the teams. The Rangers survived the mumps outbreak a couple of years, 4 years ago, whatever that was, right?
Don't make me break out the song.
And it is fucking killing me in my fantasy leagues. I know you're not a fantasy guy.
But I know because I hear it from Dan Murphy all the time. I know this was a devastating weekend for the fantasy football player.
Well, I don't fucking care about football. I've been doing fantasy football before it was even popular. I should have
Before it was fantasy. Before it was called fantasy football.
Before it was called rotisserie league. I thought it was about chicken. That's why I joined. But hey, delicious chicken. I'm in. But here's the scoop. This fucking hockey. They cancel it the day of the game. I'm setting my lineups. Blah, blah, blah. I got Pittsburgh's playing twice this week. Oh, no, they're not. I'm picking up guys from Pittsburgh so I get the maximum games in. Oh, no, they're not. And it turns out Minnesota plays a game. I start the great ex-Ranger Cam Talbot, who fucking Sean McCaff is extolling at every fucking moment, and he gets bombed for fucking 7 goals or whatever he got for 6 goals, and it sends me into the minus column. Meanwhile, there's only 2 games in this week of fantasy hockey, and so there's no way I'm going to come back from a negative. And whoever set up this fucking and then it's like, okay, well, you know what? After Tuesday, we're going home. There's no more games. The holiday break starts now. The Olympics is canceled. Everything is canceled. It's a joke. So I'm all upset about that. I don't want to. I'm very competitive, and I'm playing with a bunch of guys from Minnesota who already think they know hockey better than a New Yorker, and it's a whole fucking thing. So, I don't know. You're blaming me for Talbot? Blame that fucking lummox and net.
You're a mush. You mush Camp Talbot.
They lost to some fucking piddling team, too. Dallas. How do you lose to fucking Dallas? Give up 6 goals to Dallas. Anyway.
Lou Nanny had 3 goals in that game.
What?
Lou Nanny had 3 goals in that game.
Lou Nanny, and he got some assists from
Dino Ciccarelli.
Dino Ciccarelli and Bobby Smith. That's their first line.
So we do have Russ Cohen coming up. It's been a while since we talked to Russ. Couldn't remember the last time we talked to Russ, actually. And
it's been a long time.
I reached out to Russ last night, and I said, hey, I know it's short notice, but if you're not doing anything, come say hi. So Russ, as he always has, said yes, and he will be along in about 15 minutes, and we'll catch up with him, get his thoughts on the pause, his thoughts on the Rangers, his thoughts on whatever. Yeah,
me and him always disagree, so that's always makes up for fun. But I think we'll be more in agreement there. Yeah, I understand New York Rangers. Like, we lost to Dallas. Wasn't that game like 6? I mean, we got a lot better than that.
It's game 2, wasn't it?
Say it was very early in the season. I mean, Dallas is, come on. I mean, they got some good players. No, there's no right about. But Minnesota's the team. They're the hot team. So, anywho, so I'm all irritated by the lack of hockey now. They took away my hockey.
So, before we paused, which, by the way, I got to credit Sean McCaff. I did give him credit in talking to people, and I think I did give him credit in our Facebook group. He said this to me 2 days before it happened. He's like, that game Wednesday night against Montreal is going to be canceled. He's like, there's no way Montreal's coming to the States 2 days before Christmas with everything that's going on up there. I'm like, Jesus, I really hadn't even thought of that. And then it was another 2 days, and then they canceled all those games. But we did have, Eddie, some hockey before we hit the pause button again. 2 weeks to slow the curve, to flatten it. Everything's going to be fine on Monday. Don't ask me how. They got their old Navy masks on. Everything's going to be fine. And it wasn't exactly, I wouldn't call any one of these 3 games the Rangers' best hockey of the season. They did come away with 3 points, but it was pretty ugly hockey for the most part.
Yeah, it was, and I do agree with you. I thought the Rangers in the Knights game, they played pretty well. They just couldn't seal the deal. But the thing is,
second period was one of the best periods they've played all season.
Yeah, no doubt.
And I'm sure all of us went into third period thinking, there's no way we lose this game. No way.
Well, yes, I think you're right. I think most of us were positive polys, and we're all, wow, the Rangers really The problem with that game, and I'll just touch on it briefly, is that they got that second power play after what was it, Kreider or was it Binajad scored? I don't know which guy. In the second period, there was a double minor. It was a minor called while they were on the power play.
Right. And
they got
Kreider
a
scored, and
couple-
then they got another 2 minutes.
Yeah, and they got a couple chances, one by Kako, which he on, and I think Strom may have hit a post or something somewhere following that in there, and they just couldn't get it past the backup goalie of the Knights. But I'm going to say with this, guys, without Panarin and without Shesterkin, they didn't collapse. I mean, they held maybe a little. They held serve. Can I see? You think they've held serve?
Yeah, I mean, they kept their heads above water with him out. It could have been a lot worse. We've seen it go a lot worse.
I mean, it didn't start off well with Adam Suxka in Colorado.
No.
And we saw Georgie play pretty well. So we got an answer to that. And the Kincaid, but with Shesterkin out, I'm trying to take that positive away from that stretch of games. Did they play their best hockey? No. They still can't. They've kind of got back into that rut where they can't generate a lot of shots on net. And they're not getting a lot of power plays. They're doing well on the power play when they get it.
Yes.
But they're not getting a lot of power plays, which shows me that the work ethic may not be there. So, am I panicking? No, because the Rangers.
There's no need to panic.
I'm not prepared to say the Rangers can't close the game off with our friend Rock was suggesting, one of the co-hosts of was it
two guys, one cup.
Two guys, one cup. I'm gonna say two brothers. Two brothers, one cup.
Two brothers from Italy.
Two boys, like a pizza place.
Right.
Yeah, those guys. I don't know. I mean, I had been lauding the fact that the Rangers weren't blowing games, but the Knights are not a bad. The Knights are a good team. They are no joke. And let's face it, the Knights game was the last game, right, Jim?
Yes.
The final game. We all know who blew that game if you watch the replay. First of all, can't win a faceoff. Philip Feeble decides to go after the point man and try to beat him to the puck and doesn't, leaving the entire side open on the other side, and the guy just deposits in the net. So I blame it on Philip Hedl, lack of faceoffs again. And, a team like that's going to find ways. And the Rangers, again, they're not a playoff. They're not a contender yet. They're still not built to win. I know
they're not upper echelon.
Right.
I think they're in the good category. And I think at times they can be very good, but they're not. I just don't think. I don't think, and it's not a crime. It's not, but they're not top tier.
Right.
I mean, I think they could. I think when the goaltending's on, and when a few things break their way, they could beat anybody in the league. But if you're talking 7-game series, no, they're not an upper echelon team, and that's fine. I wasn't expecting that this year. But quite frankly, they've been much better than I expected.
Certainly. I mean,
was the Vegas now talking about Philip Hedl? He was benched in the Arizona game, right?
Yes,
the Arizona game, and that game was an absolute heist. I got a lot of buddies out there. The great Nick Turtilli, Justin Freed. They were out of that game, and I texted them as soon as that game was over. I said, "You boys saw an absolute felony."
Yeah, they should have never won that game.
I mean, if anybody gave a shit about the Coyotes, they'd be really pissed about losing that game.
That was just a case of bad teams find a way to lose.
Right.
And Arizona is light years worse than most teams in the league. Sorry, Paul, but they are.
But we did get 2 goals out of Capo Caco in that game, including the game winner.
Wonderful.
With what was left? What was it? 2.5 minutes left in that game. Capo Caco.
Sam, he's in front of that net. He's beefed up. He's okay. Well, those 2 goals brought him up to a whopping tally of 5.
5?
I think 5. Listen, I mean, I'm not expecting all that much. I should, but I'll take it. Baby steps, I guess. So it's, Kako got 2 goals. They were nice goals. I mean, you want to see the guy chip in. I'm not rooting against him. It's just that if Zibanejad, who played a great game against Vegas, finally showed up, I mean, finally had a dominating game where I thought, wow, this guy's taking control.
Also scored a goal in the Vegas in the Arizona game.
Yeah, so he is maybe picking it up. Now we're pausing. The worst thing this guy needs is another pause.
Right. There's been a pause.
Anytime there's a pause in him, COVID, whatever it is, it's just it's the start of the season again. And then he's in the doldrums.
Right. Now he's going to fall back into the COVID effects.
You know what? I say, the guys are bantering about Philip Hedel, about he's not a center, he's not a winger. I mean, he's a winger, not a center. He's certainly not a center.
He's just a bust.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Bust.
I may have seen enough. I know I say it, and the guy heats up, but
that's my favorite say. I've seen enough. I mean, if they can't find a way to get this guy going, what a disastrous draft that turns out to be, right? A disastrous first round where you draft 2 guys in the first round who just do absolutely nothing. One's already gone. The other one could be traded. Any deal that comes along, the Rangers, I think the Rangers, might look to move him in. What a bust of a draft that'll be. Imagine. I mean, come on. I mean, isn't that just the way it rolls for this team, though? We got after years and years and years of trading away first round picks for just overpriced veterans who are done. We get 2 first round picks and they both stink.
I know.
But I'll tell you who doesn't stink. You know who doesn't stink?
Who?
Oh, Joe. Brett Howden, Joe. What about that Brett Howden? 2 points.
Shit.
Alumni night.
That moron scored.
The names change, but the alumni goals stay the same. Whether it's Jonathan Marchessault, another one. No use for him, right?
Yes. I think technically that dude he was in training camp with the Rangers. But.
Right. But no use for him. Let him go to Columbus. Let him sign that ELC. Go to Columbus.
Yeah.
No use for him.
What the fuck is this stupid thing? Yeah. So I agree with you, Jim. I mean,
I think there's all again. Glad that happy about the record. Glad they've played well. Glad they've hit this pause with a decent record. But there is just a long history of just bad asset management.
Well, they made some good picks. Where'd they pick Buknevich?
Who? Huchnevich?
Pavel who? Pavel point the game who?
Pavel Huchnevich?
Couldn't sign the point the game guy. We got to save cash.
Got to get tough.
For the other point of game guys we have on this team. Oh, wait, we have none.
Got to get tough.
Yeah, it's true. Well, Sammy Blaze is paying dividends. on the IR.
Right.
I mean,
But
I
Leonard's
like
still
Sammy
hospital.
Blais. I mean, I don't want to belabor this point because I'll be the first one to say, like, listen, let's not stop. Let's give up following ex-Rangers. But you know what? We did not like this trade from the beginning. And it just, when the Rangers can't get that supplemental scoring, it would have helped. But we're rolling. We're rolling it. Like we said, it's all about Kako and Lafreniere this year. So it is. I mean, they roll the dice. This is it. The young guys got to develop. They're getting stronger. They're getting bigger. I mean, who we knew was Zibanejad. Well, we thought he would. He'll do his deal. Panarin's going to do his deal. Kreider has exceeded. I think he's 10 goals away from his career high, or something.
I believe you're
like
correct.
That. He's done his part. He's over exceeded our. I mean, Adam Fox is phenomenal. Ryan Lindgren has been the same, steady. Trouba's been better than usual. Keontae Miller hasn't been, all that worrisome. Libor Hayek coming into the picture, playing steady, saving goals. Are we still after him, folks? Are we still going to go after Libor Hayek?
Oh, I've always been in Hayek's corner.
He's just a guy. He's just a guy.
Fine. Jacob Trouba and Jacob Trouba has completely turned around this fan base.
Oh, they love him now.
This fan base couldn't wait for Jacob. They couldn't wait for Jacob Trouba to make a mistake from opening night. Every mistake they were pouncing. And now they've done one, and now they love him. Now the captain talk is back. Let's make him the captain again.
Yeah, because they see the hits, the Blutos out there that love the hits, the Blutos that love the toughness. They love it. And listen, I love it too. He's laying out the Jabberwocky guy on Chicago, Jaja Binks. He's laying out fucking Nathan McKinnon. I mean, usually when you knock out these guys, you hit them hard, you always get penalties and suspensions.
Right.
And kudos to Gary Landeskog for fighting Trouba. But I like the fact that Trouba wins the fights after they attack him. And then he got that guy on Nashville there. Or was it Nashville? Kuhnen or something?
Yeah.
You guys. So his offense ain't that bad this year.
He got six goals, right? I think.
Yeah, 6 goals.
I don't have the stat sheet. I think it's 6.
That's pretty good. No power play time.
Russ is here. You want to talk to Russ?
Yeah, let's bring Russ on.
All right. Let's welcome back. He is nodding. He is ready to go. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome back to the show one of our dear friends, one of our original guests on this program. Yeah. Sirius XM. He's an accomplished author, the author of 100 Things Every Ranger Fan Should Know Before They Die, 100 Ranger Greats. He is the one and only Russ Cohen. Russ, good evening. How are you?
Hey, Jim. Hey, Eddie. How are you guys?
Thanks for coming on.
My friend, how are you?
Anytime.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you how I was coming home in the car last night, and I was listening. I had Christmas music playing, and a Hall & Oates song came on, and you now immediately pop into my head when I hear a Hall & Oates song. And I thought, geez, we haven't talked to Russ in a while. I'm like, let me text him, see if he's busy. And sure enough, as you always do, you said yes, and we appreciate it. So we're glad you're here. And you are now synonymous, whether you like it or not, you are now synonymous with Hall & Oates.
What's his name with Hall & Oates?
It even came up in our group when I said Russ is coming on the show tonight. One of our guys said, are you going to play Hall & Oates to intro him?
I don't like them, Eddie. They just stink. They're not a good band.
They just stink.
All right, well, I love it. Hey, before you came on that we were going to argue because we never agree. And as a person who has seen Hall & Oates live,
I've seen him live.
I will tell you that Daryl Hall is very talented. Oates, not so much.
Right. Oates is kind of like Enver Leeson.
Yes, he's like the Enver Leeson of music. insignificant, and best not even mentioned anymore. But he did escape being benched by John Tortorella.
He did.
Okay.
Actually, I saw Hall Notes at Live Aid. They were with the Temptations, and it was the best set I've ever seen with Hall Notes because they played Temptations music. They didn't play any of their songs.
So none of the old. There's no like version like the old. Nothing.
Anybody who does Maneater, I can't. I just can't.
Well, just to rev your engine a little bit more. Live, they do a 7-minute version. The saxophone, the beat, it's great.
It's not great. It never was great.
I think it's funny that it's Eddie that's arguing with you about Hall & Oates when I'm the bigger fan.
I know.
I've been a fan of theirs. I've been a fan of theirs for 40 years.
Oh, really? Well, there's something wrong with you then.
Well,
I mean, no.
First cassette tape I ever bought was Hall & Oates Voices.
Which one is that?
Kiss on My List, You Make My Dreams, You've Lost That Love and Feeling. The Toronto Maple Leafs goal song.
You know what? Every Leafs fan wants it gone. They can't stand it.
They still play it?
Yes.
Yeah, like it's Hall & Oates
terrible.
they haven't won a cup in 70 years.
That's out of bounds.
No,
that could be one of the
their fault. Hall & Oates are way more successful than the Toronto Maple Leafs. I grant you.
True. Now, Russ, before we get into some Ranger stuff, I want to ask you up front. You got your Mets hat on. You're obviously excited. Do you like the Showalter hiring?
I don't love it. I mean, I wanted them to talk to Mike Scioscia, but they didn't even interview him. I mean, it'd have been nice if Steve Cohen would have like flown out there and shown some interest in the best manager available.
Scioscia?
Yeah.
Boy, that's just rubbing salt, though, isn't it? A little bit.
No, but I mean, listen, we have to get over that. But the guy has won a championship, a silver medal. He's 9 postseasons. He's better than Showalter. It's not even close.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. You know what? I never even thought of Scioscia.
Huh?
I never even thought of him. I guess maybe the Mets didn't either.
Well, I tweeted to Stephen Cohen, so they should have. But the point is, if
you tweeted Uncle Steve,
yeah. If you didn't even think of him, then you're doing the wrong thing. But they did this backwards anyhow. Who the hell fills a roster and then gets a manager?
That's true.
So, look, Showalter will do an okay job. My issue is when everybody says, hey, you know what? He'll bring stability. It'll be good. It's only 3 years. And I'm like, yeah, in 3 years, Scherzer will be gone. And who knows what the ground will be like. So
right.
You got to have a guy who can win now. You're not having a guy who's going to come in and slowly change things.
All right. So you're not thrilled.
I'm not thrilled, but I'm not mad.
Okay.
Just the way it is.
Okay.
And what do you think about the acquisition of the center fielder and the whole thing?
Listen, I was big on Starling Marte. I wanted Starling Marte, and I did right because, listen, can we all just say it was a hoax for the last 2 weeks with all these interviews? We knew Showalter was getting the job. Like, it was so obvious. But I did write a couple weeks ago that if they went and got Starling Marte, Showalter is a guy that likes to have his guys steal bases. At least he'd be one of those guys. You know, Lindor's another. They don't have a lot of guys with speed in that lineup. So at least they added some speed. And look, in this era, or at least last year, hitting the average that he did, that's hard to do. Most guys didn't even hit 300.
Okay.
So that
Very
was
true.
So you say your men's on the
Yeah,
they could have done worse.
Listen, he has to prove it to me. He's got a 506 winning percentage. Am I going to click my heels? So, listen, this is how bad it is, okay? Somebody said to me the other day, well, he's better than Terry Collins. I had to defend Terry Collins and say that he was better.
Is he better than Jeff Torborg?
Yes, everybody is.
Everybody.
Well, I mean, everybody but Joe Frazier.
Weren't they over 500 with Joe Frazier?
I don't think so. I think he was like 475.
I remember, like, as a kid being like, well, they were close to 500 under Joe Frazier.
Close.
I was all excited. But the guy was bad. That's so funny.
Let's talk hockey. We don't want everybody to get
everybody zones out.
So let me ask you. I want to ask you first. Is this pause really going to end Monday?
No.
You don't think so?
No, I think what's going to happen is on the 26th, guys are going to come in and they're going
Right.
to find more positives than they planned on. And I think they're going to wait a little bit. Me personally, and this is just a guess on my part, I think they should wait until January 1st and relaunch everything with the Winter Classic. I think that's the way to do it, because that way you've protected that game. That's their huge moneymaker. And then you start from there, and then you worry about starting to make things, make up those other games.
Yeah, I just can't see how shutting everything down for 5 days is gonna fix everything to the point where they're comfortable coming back Monday night and playing hockey.
It won't fix everything. It definitely will save the Winter Classic, though. You have to admit that.
Well, yeah, I mean it's certainly. I hope so.
Yeah.
And where are you on the cancellation of the Olympics?
Well, I mean, the Olympics aren't canceled, just the NHL.
Well, I mean, that's what I meant.
Well, it's funny because a lot of people have said that way. And
Sorry.
I'm fine with it. The issue that I had was it seemed like the players wanted control of this, and the league gave them control of it. And then we all knew the league didn't want to go. But the problem is the players could see the writing on the wall, and they still didn't pull the plug. It still took the league to meet with them to pull the plug. And that's, listen, you could say a lot of things about Gary Bettman and the league if you want, but they didn't need to make the league the heavies in this one. And Donald Fear put out a statement that basically was like, yeah, sorry, fans, we tried, but these games were canceled and we got to play these games. It's like, yeah, you got to play these games. You want to make your full paycheck, don't you? I mean, so I didn't like that. I just felt like that was a little bit where there's enough to bitch about the league, but this was not their fault.
Okay.
Yeah, it seemed like the players were dragging their feet.
They were definitely dragging.
Yeah, I mean, all along. But everybody goes right to the league whenever anything goes wrong. I mean, that's the perception. The league was actually running all that and making the decisions when it was the players.
Yeah.
Under the best of circumstances, are you a proponent of the NHL going to the Olympics?
Yeah. Under the best of circumstances, I am. I've enjoyed games, 2010 aside, because that made me sick. But otherwise, it did. It just did. I was so mad. I don't care if I'm in the media. I'm an American too. I was mad.
Well, I mean, yeah, the Olympics since the NHL has been playing. I remember was it Nagano in '98 when the Czech Republic had that great team. I mean, those were some great games. I remember staying up until the wee hours because I was living in Arizona at the time to watch some of those games.
Oh yeah, those were tough. I mean, I remember. Yeah, those were like 1 a.m. games.
Yeah.
Now the Olympics would have been fun. We'll see who shows up on the Olympic team. I'm a junkie. I'll end up watching some of those games anyhow.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's fun to watch.
I mean, Bobby Ryan's going to be on the team. We kind of know that. So.
I guess I'll start with the Rangers stuff.
It's a good place to start.
Gerard Gallant, your feelings coming in, and now your feelings, 25, 30 games in? Anything changed? Anything different you learned?
All right, so my feelings coming in was kind of like lukewarm. Like, all right, he's a good coach, but what went on in these other markets? Why was he bounced so early? I don't know. I guess we're going to find out, right? And New York always is that pressure cooker where you're going to find out a lot about a guy after a couple seasons there, if they last a couple seasons. I think so far he's handled it fairly well. I don't know if the team is that much better because of him, or are they getting a lot of these wins because Shesterkin is a hell of a goalie and Panarin's a top 5 player in the league. The rest of the supporting cast is pretty good. They're not a great team yet. I think they're on their way up. But I really do think with those factors, is it all Gallant or is it a lot of that? I don't know yet.
Well, one thing I see in Gallant that I didn't expect, or maybe I expected it, but I didn't expect it to work, was the fact that he does play that fourth line a little bit more. And he's given like kind of an edict, a direction. This is what I want you to do. I know a lot of coaches is kind of, it's nonverbal what you really should do. You just keep the puck in the other team's zone. But the Rangers have pretty much forever, I mean, really have lacked players in doing that on the fourth line. I think under Quinn, I felt that It was just like, the least skilled players got to play on the fourth line rather than some kind of organized, strategy. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think his fourth line is good. My only criticism of it is if you're down a goal or two and there's like 10 minutes to go in the game, should you be playing that fourth line? That's my only question. The rest of the game is fine, giving him the direction. Everything else you said is fine. That helped get AV fired. AV was playing Zach McEwen in the fourth line so much before he got canned that, it's not a good look when you're not doing well. When you're doing well, it's fine. You can get away with it. But like if you're playing the Colorado Avalanche and if you're down 1 or 2 goals, should you play the fourth line with 12 minutes to go? Like that would be the question.
Yeah, he does have a propensity to put especially like in the last minute of the game or when they pull the goalie, it's Dryden Hunt, it's Julian Gauthier.
Yeah.
You kind of wonder, but I guess all these coaches play favorites. They're guys
They all
that they
play
just
favorites.
like.
Yes.
Whether it's Jesper Fast out there, the coaches love that guy. And I guess they play favorites, and those guys are out there over some guys maybe we think that are more offensively skilled, So, who would you say is it's tough to say because the Rangers are winning, so it's tough to say, who is really underperforming. I think I might know who you might say is probably a guy that you thought would be more of a factor at the juncture.
Well, I think it's still fair to say that, Kakko and Lafreniere are underperforming. I felt like Lafreniere should play with more high caliber players. I think that is still something that Gallant hasn't learned, that actually Quinn did learn and got good results out of him late in the season last year. So I think it's part of that. Kakko, honestly, if he doesn't get faster in this league, like just physically faster, it's going to be hard for him to get like 20 goals because he is a guy that, if you notice, he has to be somewhere around the net to score for the most part. And if he finds a little space, you give him the puck, he's got great hands. Like he'll do it. But to get from A to B, he still has a little bit of trouble. And so, I know he had that 2-goal game recently. That was good. We need to see more of that. And I just haven't seen enough of it yet.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think really with both the guys, Lafreniere is a little bit more speedy.
He is.
But I don't see Kakko really out skating anybody. He looks a little bit like he's a little bit step behind. And I don't know. You followed this guy a bit before he came to the NHL. He seems very unemotional.
That always was the case. But I think the part that I maybe got wrong, and I think even, folks at MSG got excited about when we were watching, footage from like Finland and stuff, and they were giving him stretch passes. It's a wide open game there. And so it looks great. He handled it. He gets in close. He buries it. We don't see that in the NHL, though. He's not doing that in the NHL because it's a whole different world. And so I think the adjustment has probably been greater than he ever expected. And I would say this, at least Gallant's getting something out of him. So that's good. I think he's actually, because he's played some defense, Gallant has played him probably more minutes than maybe his offensive numbers deserve. So, maybe we'll see a payoff at some point.
Okay. What else?
What do you think's going on with Filipino?
Yeah.
Have you seen enough?
We're in year 5 now. I didn't even.
He played under AV at the end.
We were talking about it last week, and I was like, we didn't even realize that we're in year 5 with him already.
Yeah. Yeah. Hito wasn't a guy that was on my draft board at that moment. I think they took him because they thought he'd be a center. And we know now that he is not going to ever be a center. So if he's not a center, to me, he's got to score 15, 20 goals. And I don't know, man. I think that's a battle now. I think it's a bit of a battle.
And if he doesn't find his game, that draft is just a colossal bust.
Yeah.
At this point. I mean, we were just talking about before you came on how we waited years to have first round picks, and we got two of them, and they're both just terrible. It's just awful what's going on with these guys.
I think they can get something decent for Kravtsov because he is producing in the KHL. So did they handle that situation great? No. Is he a mature guy? No. So there's both of those things. Again, I wanted Wahlstrom. I didn't want that pick because I felt like Kravtsov was like a home run swing. Like, you see he's got all these tools, but he does have to put them all together. He puts them together when he's in the KHL. He doesn't put them together when he's here. Doesn't mean he won't, but I think I see some Nichushkin in him, and if it's going to take that long, he's not going to be in New York that long. That's the problem.
Yeah. I mean, he's finally finding his game now.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I don't think it's the blame lays. I think a lot of blame lays on the Rangers with this whole thing, and also him. Like, he's an immature guy, but I could see him being immature at 2021. But I can't see a Ranger organization that has all these resources can't get somebody other than Sergei Nemchinov's daughter to acclimate these people to a new culture.
Yeah, and it's hard for them. Like, we have to legitimately say that the Rangers have not had great luck with doing that. There's teams that do better with that. It's better if you have a teammate that's bringing you along than somebody else like that. And that's no slight on her. It's just less relatable.
I just feel like this seems to be a reoccurring problem.
Yeah,
with the Elias Anderson, there was a lot of miscommunication there going as well.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, and then we heard, I don't know if you got this about Chris Drury dressing down Kravtsov while he was down in the minor league.
I heard rumors. I don't know if it's true, but I did hear the rumor.
Right. I mean,
what was Drury told him in front of the whole team? You let the team down, you let everybody down, or right? Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
You quit on the team. I don't know.
I don't know who
they have other European players coming, so hopefully they figure it out.
You know what I'm saying? Stop drafting KHL players and Europeans.
So
you can't do that.
I know, but if you can't, you don't have the resources.
Listen, look. As an example, look how long it took the Minnesota Wild to actually decide that they were going to go and draft a Russian player. There were some teams that swore off him, and he's their best player.
Yeah.
So you can't do
that. And then what galls me, Russ Cohen, as the Rangers draft a Russian player and Pavel Buchnevich, and then because some fear that he's going to cost them, is going to become a cap issue, they trade him away. They trade him away for Sammy Blais and a second-round pick. Pavel Buchnevich is averaging a point per game as we speak. Why?
No surprise, because he's a really good player. He had a really good year last year.
Last year. Both ends of the ice.
Listen, I didn't like him move either. And then Sammy Blais became like this folk hero because he would hit guys and show little blasts of skill. Listen, Sammy Blais is not a bad player. That's not my point here is to rip him. My point here is to say Buchnevich should never been traded. He's a really good player.
And he made it. He was a pick.
Yep.
He developed.
A late pick.
He developed into, and rather than have a legacy of a Ranger who they made a good pick, they have to ship him off so they can sign.
What was he, like third, fourth round? And he was their first pick that year, something like that. And
I think he was third round.
Yeah, third round. And so, yeah, he's a really good player.
It galls me. And then, again, it's nice to have Sammy Blais hitting people, but now he's on IR and for the rest of the season. And I don't know what that second round pick. I really don't care about picks anymore because the Rangers don't have a history with the picks. And then they're worried about, signing.
Well, that's not true. Look at Keandre Miller. He's doing great. Like, don't fall into that bucket.
Right. Well,
all right. So, so Keandre Miller is doing very well, so let me circle back to with the with the European guys. What are the Rangers? Are the Rangers not really vetting these guys before they draft them, and then they're having these cultural and every other problem? Are they just watching YouTube videos and saying, "Okay, let's draft him"?
No, they have an extensive scouting department. They're sending guys. Look, last year, almost everybody was watching video. There's some guys over there, but
but these problems go back. I mean, we're going back now 5 years with a couple of these guys now.
Yeah.
So
the issue is basically this: a lot of teams don't want to get 3-4 rounds worth of Canadian players because you got to sign them quickly. That's why you see more college players get taken. That's why you see more European players get taken, because you don't have to sign them to the entry-level contract so soon. That has become an issue in the cap world. So you got to pick and choose how you do it. So there has been a disproportionate amount of Euros picked in the last couple of drafts as a result. But still, a lot of them are good. It's just, yes, it takes time to develop there. And then sometimes it's a crapshoot as to whether they'll acclimate here. It's just the way it is.
Okay. I didn't really. That's a good. You make a good point about the Canadian players. That's not something I really ever thought of.
But getting made fun of because I'm nodding my head.
Well, we agree with Russ. What do they want us to do?
Not saying.
Take our heads.
I like to argue with him, but I haven't got anything to argue with him other than Hall and Oates.
Fine, we could disagree on that.
Yeah, we can move on. Jacob Trouba.
Yeah, I heard what you were saying. Listen, I was not as mad as Ranger fans were the last few years.
It's because you're sane.
Yeah, I mean,
Ranger fans are insane.
I get it. The minute someone makes $8 million, you're expecting him to score like 60 points and be the best defenseman in the league. But he's not going to change his game. But what he did do, did step up physically. And now that he's stepped up physically, his offense has come around a little better. And so that's a guy that really in the last year has worked his way into the Rangers lineup, but just being a New Yorker. It takes time sometimes. Guys come to the city and it's not an automatic, not automatic that they're going to do well. So I think Gallant's been good for him, and I think he's really stepped up, and now he's feared. I mean, anytime he hits anybody, they're all saying, it's illegal,
He's all over the news, all over the Canadian news every time he makes a hit. Oh, it's just dirty. He extended his arm. Look at this. And teams see that.
Yeah.
They see those broadcasts, and they know he's out there. And that's all you got to do is they know he's out there.
Every team needs a guy like that.
And I think the other thing to consider is that his partner has gotten better, which has only made him better.
Yeah. I mean, just having Adam Fox has made everybody better.
Right.
Let's face it.
That too.
He's otherworldly.
I will tell you this, though. There's a little bit of concern for me. Adam Fox may lead all defensemen in points this year and still not get the Norris because he shouldn't win it back to back, because Cale Makar may score 30 goals. And this is where I think the Norris Trophy is going to finally come to a head, because Fox does everything. He scores the points, and he's a better defender than
Cale Makar.
Than Makar. Makar is an amazing player. Don't get me wrong.
No doubt.
But I'm just saying, these are things that, like, even people who are arguing the Makar case were like, yeah, Fox is better shorthanded. Yeah, he's better shorthanded. He's a lot better shorthanded. He's really helped the Rangers shorthanded. So I just have a feeling he might not win it this year and might still be the best defenseman.
Well, if he gets the accolades and wins it, fine. As long as we know what he is, I mean, he's going to get other Norris trophies if he continues it like this. I mean, this guy, to me, other than Brian Leach, I haven't seen anybody better back there. And I actually think he may be a bit better defensively than Leach. Not as offensively.
That's fair. I mean, what I always used to say, Leach always had catch-up speed. So if he made a mistake, he was always faster than the other guy and could get back and make a play. Fox doesn't really have to do that. So I think that's a fair statement.
Yeah.
But Fox will never be what Leach is offensively either. So
no, but the hockey IQ, as they say, is just off the charts.
It is.
It's off the charts.
Yep.
And we should thank every day that the Rangers acquired Adam Fox, because
Well, it's
The
that
lead-
Long Island. It's when you go to school on Long Island, you're very smart. They're smart people.
like me and
Like
Russ.
yeah.
That's right. We were educated.
Yep.
Here. So yes.
Look at Jim doesn't even want to comment.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say it's that same Long Island education that made you not smart enough to not be Jet and Met fans.
Wow.
Well, that's true. Yeah. We don't want to talk about
Can't argue that.
Russ, we've had a couple of questions from our chat room, mostly about AV and the Flyers, about what kind of went down there. If you could give us
what went down it was interesting because, like, I've covered a lot of AV, and he did not do well with the pandemic. Now, in the bubble, he did, right? But in the bubble, everything was pretty much controlled. Nobody was really going out sick. Nobody was really getting hurt for the most part. You're all in one place. It was very controllable, and they had good results. Last year, he complained a lot about the 56-game season. He complained a lot about not being able to practice. He complained a lot about a lot of things, right? And the season got derailed, and I was like, okay, he may not be adjusting to COVID life in the NHL. And sure enough, this year, again, not off to a great start. They did have plenty of practices, but a lot of injuries, guys in and out. He's playing Zach McEwen, like he's playing other guys that he used to favor in the past. You can name the whole laundry list of them from the Rangers or the Canucks. There's always those guys. And I'm not trying to beat on Zach McEwen. He's okay. He's just not a great NHLer. But the point is that he got off track with that. And that really did derail the season for them because he just didn't adjust. He wasn't adaptable to having guys out at the last minute. He didn't do a good job last year with Carter Hart. I pointed that out on Twitter when he said he was going to give Hart time off and then had him as the backup and then put him in the game. He gives up some goals, and that really did hurt his psyche for a while. And that was avoidable. And I think he learned from that. This year, he was handling that better, but then the other things fell apart. So, that's the way it is. I don't want to say he's done as a coach because he may not be, because he has a lot of wins and someone will probably still hire him, but he's got to change a bit. That's what I'm saying.
We were saying last week or the week before he may wind up back in Montreal.
Yeah, it's possible.
I mean, Gortz is going to need, obviously he's familiar with Jeff Gorton, and he's going to need a conduit to the French speaking.
Somebody's got to teach him French.
God, that was funny.
Schwartz, I don't know if he's going to get another job.
Nah, I think it may happen. But he's worn out his welcome everywhere. What's a year?
He has.
His style of hockey. I don't even know what. I just hated him as a Ranger coach. I know I'm in the, I guess, minority, but that hockey was unbearable to watch.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, you always playing on your own end. It's, it tires guys out too. I know guys always say they got better under him, but I don't know.
I mean, I think Dan Girardi lost 4 years off his career. I think Mark Stahl lost 4 years off his career.
Ryan Callahan,
the blocking the shots and all that stuff.
Dubinsky.
Yeah, Brandon Dubinsky. He was a warrior. No question.
No doubt about it. What happened to him? Is he is he retired?
He's like in between. I think he's still getting paid and then he'll retire. I used to like him getting into scraps with Mike Richards. Those two hated each other.
Yeah, they hated it. And he used to always make fun of Crosby too.
Yeah.
Call him a big baby. Okay, well, when we've been joking around on the show calling Shesterkin Hurtin, is this going to be a constant thing every? I mean, I know you're not going to look into your crystal ball, but is it worrying you that this guy can't stay healthy?
No, not yet. I haven't seen a history of it. He might be one of those guys that feels a little something and then says, you know what? I know my body. Let me nip it in the bud so I'm not out for a whole season instead of just, trying to carry on. They're lucky. Georgiev, the one thing we did learn is he may not be a great backup, but when he knows he's the guy for a while, he's still a really good goalie. So they're going to get a good asset for him when they trade him.
That is true. When he knows he's the backup, he's El Stinko. But when he knows he's the guy, the savior, if you will, for the team to come in, and he's played very well.
Yep.
Another fragile mindset.
It's not a fragile mindset. It's just for whatever reason and that's just his makeup. That's just the way he is. So he's got to be like a 1B, not a true backup.
Right. And they will have some trade value. What
He
guy-
wants to be Van Beesbrook.
Yeah. Without putting his wrist through a plate glass table.
Oh, that was one of the worst injuries ever. Well, he's playing with his kid, right, or something?
Yeah. There's been a lot of freak injuries in Ranger history.
I remember in Met history. I remember you remember Mike Vail, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Remember he was like we had some crazy
35 game hitting streak, something like that as a rookie.
And then he played basketball. He hurt his wrist or something, right?
Yeah.
And he was never the same.
But it wasn't like Glenn Allen Hill and the Spiders and running through like a door, like a screen door or something. I don't forget what he did. He said he was sleeping, then he woke up, he had a dream, he had spiders all over him.
Oh boy.
Yeah. There was a lot more going on with Glenn Allen Hill, clearly.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So what Rangers do you think are going to make it? You think there's going to be some deals where the Rangers really need to improve or keep it status quo? I get the feeling, Chris, I listen, Russ, I talk turkey on this show. I talk turkey everywhere. I believe that Chris Drury is both scared and stupid. And I believe that he is not going to make a big deal. He didn't do much other than add some toughness, which could have been done under the other regime. I think they would have the brains enough to figure out they need a little bit more muscle, but that's here nor there. Who do you think? What would you look to fill, and maybe some guys we won't be seeing in the second half whenever that ever happens?
I would, if I were them, I would look to maybe get a replacement for Patrick Nemeth, so Nemeth doesn't have to be an every game guy. I think it was fine to have him at the beginning to kind of help Nils Lundkvist along. I think now you got to get somebody more mobile to help him along, because Nemeth in the playoffs, they're going to opposing teams when the Rangers are on the road, they're going to line up their best guys, their fastest guys against him, and you see he's got trouble. So I think, go after someone like Ben Sharat. Go after somebody like that. If you could get that and get that grizzled playoff guy, improve your defense, they might be able to go places, the Rangers. I mean, I still think Florida's the best team in the East, but with the Islanders pretty much out of it now, and I think they're out of it.
You're right. They are out of it. They can't make up this many points.
No.
I love hearing that.
And you look at it and you say, all right, I mean, who can't they beat? Carolina is really good, but I don't like Freddie Anderson in the playoffs as much.
I don't like
so I honestly think other than, Florida, there's a lot of teams that could be upset. And if the Rangers were to really fortify their defense, then I think they could be right there with some of those teams. So, yeah, I would go after a Sharat. I mean, you never know with the Flyers, if they were out of it, trade Ristolainen into them. I don't know. Maybe if the Rangers could swallow the contract and they didn't have to eat any of it, maybe they would. So you'd have to look at guys like that. These guys are potential game changers for them.
Tell me a little bit about Ben Sharat. What does he bring to the team? What kind of player?
Real defense, knows how to play playoff style defense, plays well in the corners. He still can get the puck up the ice, but he's really a guy that has a sound game, and he's physical. And it's everything Nemeth is, except he's he's not a lot faster. Well, compared to Nemeth, he is.
Well, yeah.
So,
he has no offensive skills whatsoever. I mean, I said he makes Mark Stahl look like Bobby Orr.
Yeah.
I mean,
and Sharat's got a little bit of offensive skill.
Yeah.
A little.
But Nemeth, he's been solid, I got to say. I mean, I got no problems with him, but you're right. At some point, now we don't, the pause may give these guys a little bit more time to recuperate. He's going to break down. And since they're not playing Lundkvist right now, which primarily he was brought in to kind of, talk Swedish to him and get him acclimated.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Gallant loves him. A lot loves that he can play both sides.
I know.
And you see, watch a Ranger game. It's crunch time. It's Nemeth and Trouba out there. It's what do you think, both of you guys, what do you think about the win now philosophy in a game at all costs? We're shorting the bench. Forget about developing guys in crunch situations.
I think there's a fine line with it. But if he's, if Golan's trying to say that Nemeth is the best guy to have out there in crunch time, he's wrong. But I think there's something to it. I think you should have some guys like Lafreniere out there in crunch time, because if you want him truly to be the future, then you do have to give him these chances. And so I do think there's a little bit of that yin and yang there, but there's a way to balance it. But you're right, guys do play favorites. I've just seen too many times where Nemeth really can get skated right around, and it's not hard.
Jim,
every coach has a circle of trust, Eddie. We've talked about that for a long time, and Golan's no different. And right now, he's comfortable with Nemeth out there. He likes Reeves out there towards the end of the game too.
I'm going to answer Kana's question. Should they try and get Phil Kessel? The answer would be no, because the food's too good in New York, and Phil's already got issues.
He's a little chunky. Well, the only thing receding with Phil is his hairline. That's what Russ is saying right now.
He'd be at Nathan's too much. We don't need that.
Yeah. I don't think the Rangers, I would love to see them go out and get a center who can win faceoffs.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think who would be out there.
Are there any of them that just
yeah, you want to know who one is, and you would never get traded to the Rangers? Is Claude Giroux. Claude Giroux is great on faceoffs. He's in his last year, but he ain't coming to the Rangers, man. That's never gonna happen.
Yeah. Yep. That's so funny. Yeah, he's good on faceoffs.
Oh no, he's a shark on faceoffs. I'm trying to think.
Isn't there a Yannick Perreault type of guy we can get, or
Josh Bailey's,
Brett Howden? He's over
50% on
faceoffs.
But the Islanders aren't going to trade with the Rangers.
Yeah,
I don't
Jim
know.
said Brett Howden.
Brett Howden. Hey, he scored the other night.
Oh God,
and had an
my
assist.
chagrin.
That hurt, right?
Oh man, and especially I had ridden that guy for 2 years, and then of course everybody's like, "Oh, see Ed." Everybody remembers what I say. I guess because I say it louder.
Another guy that's emphatic. Right. You say it louder. That's
and
why.
Emphatic, like,
and you say it at least twice.
Yeah, I can't. The only thing I could say is there is a point where the Leafs might have to trade Alex Kerfoot. He is really good on faceoffs. He's playing some wing now instead of center. If you could give them what they want, would they trade with the Rangers? Maybe.
What do you think the Leafs need?
I think they could use another defenseman. I think they also could use if they're going to trade Kerfoot, then they want like another, top six left winger type, something like that. That may be tough. The defenseman the Rangers could do. So, but Kerfoot would be a good fit if they could get him.
Russ, before we let you go, who right now in the Rangers pipeline, who's standing out?
Well, I mean, if we go World Juniors, Brett Berard's going to have a big role with Team USA. And I just watched him in camp. I was in Plymouth. He looks great. He does everything for them. Like he could be an agitator. He could set up guys to score. He can score himself. He's got a lot of talent. He's not the biggest guy, but he skates great. He knows how to get in the play. He really is a guy that's impressive. I mean, so that's a guy. Will Cully, I'm not excited about because I feel like he's a guy that is getting by with his size in junior hockey, but he's on Team Canada. He'll get some ice time with them. So we'll see. We'll see how he develops. I'm not sure if he's just like another big guy, or is he really going to be like the real deal? Now, Dylan Goran, their goalie, who is going to be the backup on Team Canada, he's got a lot of potential. He did play in the Top Prospects game that I got to 2 years ago now. That is hard to believe. It's like, I don't know, maybe I'll get there. No, I won't get there this year because the border. But he was good. Dylan Goran is really good. He's got like a 932 save percentage with Kelowna. He could be the guy that maybe replaces Georgiev. So, because Tyler Wall was really good in college, but I don't know if I'm feeling it for him for the NHL. And Adam Husk is a nice guy. I don't think he's an NHL backup quality.
Jim hates him.
Yeah. So
What
he's a nice
whatever happened to the goaltender they drafted a couple of years ago in like the second round? Philip Lindblom?
Philip Blomqvist, is it? The Swede?
Yeah, he was Swedish, but really big, right?
Johan Hedberg?
No. Yeah, from what I remember, he started to tail off a little bit last year. I have not kept up with him this year.
Past his prime?
No, I don't want to say past his prime because you never know what goalies.
20.
Goalies could come around when they're 24 and surprise you, like a Bennington. So even though he wasn't getting a chance, but still he hung around. No, but I do think Dylan Goran does have a lot of potential to be some sort of NHL goalie. I mean, Shesterkin's the star, but he could do some sort of role for them.
What about the Othman prophecy?
I like him. I could see why Canada didn't take him. I know Ranger fans were like, "Oh, he's snubbed." I saw him play up close and personal in New Jersey when Olaf Lindblom. That's it. Sorry, yeah.
I had his last name right.
I thought I said no. You said
you said Lundqvist.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what happened to him. I had some high hopes for Olaf, but then he's off the radar. But I did see Othman against the Flyers, rookies against rookies here in Voorhees, this summer, and he looked good. I think there were times where he showed a physical side, showed an offensive side. I still think he's got to put it all together, and I think he will. I don't know if his high is as high as I think it, like the Rangers think it's going to be. There were some other guys on the board I may have liked better, but I do think he's a good player. And Braden Schneider is the real deal. Like, the only reason Braden Schneider is not up with the Rangers is because he has to get physically stronger.
Looks. I totally agree with you.
Yeah,
he needs to put on some weight and.
Yeah, because if he's going to crash and bang like he does in juniors in the NHL one day, he's got to get sturdier and that's his game. Like, that's his bread and butter. So, and he does have offense, and he looked really good in that scrimmage that I've seen him. And so I am high on Schneider. Always have been.
What about the feeling that Zach Jones should have been up with the Rangers rather than?
I don't think he's quite there. I think Zach Jones is not quite there. I think it's the issue. The issue with him is it's in his own end. Like, he's terrific on the power play if you put him there. He's great with the puck, good puck rusher. Good dekes, all of that. He does need to get a little better with puck battles. I think the puck battle part is the part that I'm not worried about it, but he has to improve. So that's where I'm at with him.
And we have a question to just from the great Sean McCaff, author Sean McCaff. He's got a little bit of an attitude now that he's an author, but it's an inside joke.
At the end, maybe you'll let me push my 10th book.
So, yes.
You can push whatever you want on this program.
He wants to know about Carl Henriksen.
I like Henriksen. He's definitely got to get stronger, but he's been good on faceoffs. He's fast. There's some offense in his game. I feel like with Henriksen, he might be that center that can win you faceoffs and be sort of that defensive shutdown guy more than he's going to be anything else. And so I think if he's going to play that role, which he might, then it's going to be a little while till we see him. But there was somebody else. I do like Matthew Robertson a lot. That's another guy who a lot of size on the blue line, who I think if they give him time, he gets his skating a little better. He could really he could be something. But
the Rangers have a lot of assets back there. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see who is going to be. You can't play all these guys.
I think Morgan Barron's right there. Like, I thought he should have started the year with them, but let's see what are Morgan Barron's numbers at the moment. I haven't looked them up lately.
They're barren.
Let's see. Yeah, he's got 10 points in 19 games, 8 goals. He's close. He should be there by next year. I'm a big Morgan Barron guy. He was terrific in college. He's a big guy who could skate. He plays hard in the corners. Now that's a guy that we could see something really good out of as a bottom 6 guy. He's probably a 4th line guy, but you got to have those guys too. Pajaniemi is the guy that in camp showed off one of the best shots on the team. Now,
yeah, he's got a good shot. And
in the AHL right now, he's got 13 points and 6 goals in 22 games. He may need another year in the AHL because he's a smaller guy. But I'm telling you, if he can come up and you put that shot, even if it's on the second power play, it's an impressive.
Yes, shot. I agree. Late people. Everybody wants to know about Tarmo Ruunanen.
I'm not sure what's happening with him. He's looked good to me. But again, I think Lundqvist kind of jumped his spot. So now I think
he played well when they called him up last year.
He did.
I thought he did.
He did, but Gallant hasn't given him a sniff, right?
No.
And so I kind of wonder.
Circle of trust.
Yeah.
Look how long it took Libor Hayek to get a shot.
All right, but listen, if you want me to pick between Libor Hayek and Tarmo Ruunanen, I'm going to pick Ruunanen.
Oh, wow. That's fine. Libor.
Steve Yzerman was laughing the day the Rangers made that trade. He pulled the wool over their eyes so badly on that trade.
Yeah, but you can't blame Libor for that. I think he's been serviceable.
No, but why were the Rangers asking for him? I could have told him he wasn't.
He was right. He was key to the deal, right?
Well, that's the way they made the deal. Yeah.
All right. I think Libor will not be a Ranger.
I thought Howden could be a decent player. I did, and he just didn't improve the way that he should have. So now you're talking about 4th line or bust for him.
Right?
Yeah, he stinks.
Russ, before we say goodnight, why don't you tell everybody what about your book and where they can find you these
What's
days?
It all about?
Yeah.
Yep. So now let's see if I get the title right. I believe it's the NBA top 75 players. I did it with a couple other guys, Rick Morris and Ben Chu. It's a list book, kind of like 100 Ranger Greats. And I'm the guy that brought in like the older basketball player knowledge,
Bernard King.
Bernard King. But
I thought you were going to go with what you call it?
John Spanarkel.
Jerry West, Will Chamberlain, guys like that. I saw those guys play, and I watched on the island. I watched the ABA tremendously. Like I was huge a Nets fan. I was big Dr. J fan. My cousin went to school. My cousin went to school with Larry Keenan, so I was really tuned into that team. So anyhow, this book ranks all those players, has eras where guys are tops in their era. We talk about we numerize that. We give little anecdotal stories. I have stories about some of these guys, and then the other two talk about how these guys played and what they did. We talk about how many, the way that we rank them is kind of like how many scoring titles did they win, how many championships did they win, how many All-Star games were they in, all those kinds of things. That's how we came about the list. So, even at 75, you still have a really great player in my estimation. So,
did Bob McAdoo make your list?
Yes, he did.
Yes.
I had no idea you were such a basketball fan.
Back then, I'll tell you when I checked out of basketball, and I still cover some events, right? Because I like talking to young players of all sports. So I don't mind covering, the young NBA players and see who's going to be the next great ones. I still like that too. But once the Knicks got Latrell Sprewell, I was out. I did not want a guy who choked out his coach. And I was like, if the Knicks are getting a guy like this, I'm done with him. And that was when I really jumped off and I had been a lifelong Knicks fan. So
I jumped off about when Clyde Frazier got traded to
Cleveland.
Yeah, he was in Cleveland. Then I said, Clyde's gone. I can't.
Wow. And Cleveland does not like Walt Frazier, but again, he was already he was so many games. Yeah. He was a different guy.
Yeah. No,
there's two guys. You know what's funny? Rick Morris, the other author, is from Cleveland, and there's two guys he really doesn't like, and one is Clyde Frazier, and the other is Keith Hernandez. Because Keith kept getting those calf injuries in Cleveland and barely ever played for them.
Yeah. And I think Keith, his career average dipped under 300 because of those seasons over there.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they were rough. So, anyhow, it was fun doing an NBA book. I had never done one. And I'll be honest with you guys, the 10th book was supposed to be a Jets book. And you know what? Thank God it wasn't, because we would have had to write nice things about Sam Darnold that probably weren't going to work out. So I don't know when the Jets book's coming, but it's going to come one day.
I don't know what you could do about the Jets. I mean, I don't know. Is there people clamoring for a Jets book?
I don't know if they're clamoring for it, but I think if you hit the right chord, there's enough fans that would be like, yeah, that was a good time. And yeah, that really sucked. And, like, it's like any other thing. You could commiserate. You could find common ground.
Yeah.
Well, Russ, thank you so much for being here. When's the book come out?
It's out. It's out on Amazon now.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. In Kindle format. It just came out today. Today is literally the day it came out. Probably be available in paperback, I'd say in the next week or two, but because of COVID, you never know, like, when you order it, how long it might take. That's that's why the Kindle, we made sure the Kindle was out first, because that one you can get right away. So yeah, we hope people enjoy it.
I just want to ask
Russ, look up my name. Maybe I screwed up the title, but if I didn't, just look up Russ Cohen on Amazon. And
Russ, I have one more question to ask you.
Yeah.
Where would you rank the Rangers organization right now as far as prospects go?
As far as prospects, I think, let's see, they have a lot of guys up. I think they're probably, I would say, somewhere like 13, 14.
Okay,
15.
so they're middle of the pack.
I think they're middle of the pack because they graduated a few.
Right.
So, yeah, I think they're middle of the pack. I think people made them much higher based on Lafreniere and Kako, but until they produce, I can't really, give them that kind of status where, even like Dawson Mercer has come on the scene and burst on the scene.
He's doing very well.
And Seth Jarvis has. And so, you have to take that into account.
The top 75 players in pro basketball history.
All right, so I was close.
You were close.
It was like that 100 Things title. Sometimes I got it right, sometimes I didn't.
And
all right,
and
my friend.
The
Happy
first book that
Hanukkah
comes
to
up
you
for
and
Russ
yours.
Cohen is still Wild Plants I Have Known and Eaten.
I've never met that dude. Never.
You want to write a book with him?
I should. Because he's got better Google placement than me, that MFer.
That son of a bitch.
All right, Russ, thank you so much. Have a great holiday. Enjoy it. Hopefully the pause is short and you're back to work soon.
Yeah. Well, I have the World Juniors. I'm actually not going to be out of work. I'll be fine.
There you go. All right. Take care. Thanks again, Russ. We'll talk soon.
Thanks for having me.
Bye. Always entertaining, Russ Cohen.
I got all the information I need now to.
He's one of those guys. Russ always tells you something that you never thought of. You know what I mean? He's a guy that makes you think. I like that.
Yeah.
I like a guy who can educate me.
Oh yeah. I certainly don't know it all. I've never pretended to know it all, but I like to hear about the guys.
When he talks about why teams don't want to draft too many Canadian players, things like because of the cap issues it creates, things like that. I just put the Be Live the guest link in the chat for you guys because I know you wanted it.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Exactly. So let me ask you a question. Since we have a brief interlude here, we've done our hockey talk, and are you a Christmas music guy? Do you listen to Christmas music? No,
I mean I like it. My wife loves it.
Right.
To give you an example, it's not going on, but I think it's one of the universities. I think it might be Valparaiso. They have a dial a Christmas carol, live Christmas carols. You dial them up. I think it's 24 hours a day for like.
What's the number?
No, it's closed down now.
Oh,
I know. Next year, I'll give you the
Let's
number.
go do it live on the air like Ron Greshner on that
Yeah.
other show.
Yeah. You could call them, and they have like students. I guess they get extra credit for whatever, and they'll
Right.
sing any song you want.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. And like my favorite Christmas song is Silver Bells. Like I like that song.
Right.
I don't. I like it, but I don't love it.
Okay.
Okay. How about you?
I love Christmas music.
Do you like the funny ones? Do you like the traditional? Do you like?
I like both.
Wow.
I love some of the Bob Rivers stuff. The 12 Pains of Christmas. Didn't I Get This Last Year? That's a classic. That's a great song. If you've never heard it, look it up. Bob Rivers, Didn't I Get This Last Year? It's to the tune of Do You Hear What I Hear? Whatever. And I like the old stuff, White Christmas, Silver Bells, I'll Be Home for Christmas.
How about the holy songs?
I love
Bethlehem.
that one's okay. I'll tell you.
Little Drummer Boy, one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I recently, actually, I think I found it last year. I don't know when it came out. I tend to be a little behind on music in general, but Christmas music I found last year. Andre Bocelli had put out a Christmas album, and that man's voice is just amazing. And he does a version of Adeste Fideles, which of course is in Italian, but it's beautiful. I love his voice, and he also does Jingle Bells with the Muppets. So you got to appreciate.
Yeah, you got to love the guy.
Got to appreciate
the
that.
Muppets. It's okay with me.
So yeah, I do like some of the hymnal songs. "O Come, O Ye Faithful," and "O Holy Night," which I guess would classify.
Yeah, that one.
I'm not a big fan of sad Christmas songs, and there's a lot of sad Christmas songs. Dave Matthews has this Christmas
Dave
song.
Matthews is sad. I hate Dave Matthews.
But he has this song. Jen and I always make fun of him because you can't understand a word he's saying. But he has this Christmas song that's just so fucking sad. I don't know what it's called. I don't know, but it's so sad. So I'm not a big fan of sad. A Blue Christmas. The Elvis version's okay, but Roy Orbison's got this song. I think it's called "Pretty Paper," but it's just so fucking sad. Pretty paper. It's just you want to slit your wrist. I'm like Lucy and Charlie Brown Christmas. Don't you know ho 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 and Jingle Bells and all of that?
I hate Lucy. I hate Charlie Brown.
You hate Charlie Brown?
Fucking worse. Talk about depressing. What a
you don't like Charlie Brown Christmas?
I hate everything Charlie Brown.
Oh wow! This is big news. 12 years I know this man. I never knew this.
I hate it. That fucking Great Pumpkin is the most depressing bullshit. It's stupid. I do like Snoopy, but there's so little Snoopy in the fucking show. It's not worth it. No, sorry. Not buying it.
And Snoopy plays hockey.
Go to I know. And SNL. Watch You're a Rat Bastard, Charlie Brown. That's the greatest parody of what that show really is about.
No, I know a Better Peanuts parody that's on YouTube, but I can't say what it is.
I'm sorry. I don't like the fucking show. It's boring. It's bad animation.
It's okay.
I played it every fucking day when I was young, and it sucks.
All right, so do you
Lucy's a bitch. Right. Lucy is totally against China. He's a little fucking.
This is fantastic. What about
playing a piano and the kids and the other guy?
Schroeder.
The theme is really good. Peanut theme is A-okay with me. And I like it. But the rest, every character is worthless.
Wow. All right.
I don't like any. I'm sorry. I just don't. And then the comic. Remember the comic? Who the fuck? What was read that? I don't even read comics anymore. There's no papers anymore. But
Right. Nobody reads paper anymore. You used to get the
Christmas
Sunday
in
Funnies.
Hollis, very good song.
The Daily News Sunday Funnies. They were in color. That was the best.
No, Charlie Brown is not the ultimate underdog. Underdog is the ultimate underdog.
That's right. Beetle Bailey was the ultimate underdog.
Yeah. Fucking Charlie Brown is a loser. He's a simp, a sap.
Wow.
I don't like the show. Kill me. Kill me. I don't like the show.
It's okay. We can have everybody can like different things. What about Christmas movies? Do you like Christmas movies?
I like a couple of them.
Old ones or
I
newer
like the
ones?
one with the Heat Miser.
The Year Without a Santa Claus.
Yeah, I like because of their whole shtick and Mother Nature. That's a pretty good bit. I do like and the Christmas Carol, the classic by Dickens. I don't have a favorite. I couldn't tell you. I don't know. There's some shit out there I don't like. I like the one with Tim Allen, believe it or not.
The Santa Claus.
Yeah, I like that one.
That's a great movie.
And I know you guys are going to kill me when I divulge this because it's in the part of our show. I have never seen the vacation movies, the Christmas movie.
You've never seen Christmas Vacation?
I have never. I only saw a little bit of it when I was getting my car worked on.
What a perfect segue.
When Randy Quaid is he's visiting the house and he has some wreck in the driveway.
There's an RV.
Yeah, I traded
it with my friend. He got the house. I got the RV. But don't you go getting too attached to it because we're taking it with us when we leave here next month. All right. Speaking of Christmas Vacation, everybody wanted to hear this. It's become a holiday tradition. So we can't. Speaking of Christmas Vacation, this is the only part of Christmas Vacation that he's ever seen with the Brian Boyle rant.
It's Brian fucking Boyle. How many years on this show did we spend making fun of Brian fucking Boyle? And then he shoved it up our ass. He shoved it up our ass last night, Costa, and it hurt. It hurt bad. Sideways. Brian fucking Boyle scoring on an Olympic gold. He's a terrible fucking hockey player. He's terrible. He's terrible. You hate him. Goran on who every fucking day they tell me how great this guy is. Every day. Every day I gotta hear my own fucking Facebook group. How great Henriksen is. And how I should suck his cock every goddamn day. I'm tired of it. Brian fucking Boyle scored on him. You know what? I said this last night, and I thought I shouldn't say this on the radio because it's insensitive. Fuck it. I hope you can't catch cancer through urine because Brian Boyle pissed all over Henrik Lundqvist last night. He's not good. He was never good. He takes face off. He's 6 foot 15 and doesn't use his body. How many fucking guys have to watch him get muscles off the puck by naked Kirby?
What about
JTRA? What about guy 4'10"? My girlfriend is 4'10" and been muscle Brian Boyle off the puck. He stinks! And all I keep hearing is, Henrik Lundqvist is so great. Where are my Henrik haters? I don't fucking hate Henrik Lundqvist, you jackass. But he should be able to stop Brian Boyle on a goddamn breakaway. Merry Christmas. Where's his Tylenol?
Now, I have never seen that part, but I know. I guess that's when he finally has enough of all the shit he's making the whole movie.
Oh, wait a minute.
Let's go read.
There we go. Sorry. The next YouTube video started. All right, you want to talk to Rock?
Yeah, let's talk.
We haven't talked to Rock in a long time.
Man.
What's up, Rock? Now, one thing I have to say about Rock is Rock and I both share an affinity for one of our favorite Christmas movies is The Bishop's Wife.
I may have seen this. Let me look it up.
Rock, we can't hear you. Oh, wait.
Okay.
There you are.
Sorry.
Yes. What's
The
going
Bishop's
on,
Wife,
Ron?
I actually just watched it the other night. It's an absolute classic movie.
I love that movie. That's usually our traditional first movie in this house.
Yeah.
We usually watch like the day after Thanksgiving. Jen had never seen it until I showed it to her. She loves that movie now.
It's vintage Cary Grant. Just an absolute, and the skating scene where he skates with James Gleason and Loretta Young. I mean, it's just an absolutely phenomenal.
And it's so obvious that it's not him.
Well, they said he could skate, so I looked this up. He could skate. So the early shots of him moving around, he actually can skate a little bit, but obviously the moves, the crazy
if
things
you watch
he did on the ice
the
were
trick
not.
shots, it's not.
No.
You could tell it's not him. The guy's
definitely
shorter.
not.
He's got more hair. He's younger.
Yeah.
So
But
anyway,
believe it or not, I'm sure you know this, but originally they had David Nevin was supposed to play the Angel.
I did know that. Yes.
Yeah, so I figured you knew that.
I did know
but
that.
it's just a great movie. I mean, great casting and just a phenomenal movie.
It really is.
It's one of my faves.
I've never seen this movie. I just never saw it. I'm not opposed to seeing it.
It's okay.
Eddie, I mean, listen, if you like old movies, I mean, it's a really good
I
one.
can dig an old movie.
Yeah,
1948 it was made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The year after It's a Wonderful Life, I think.
And actually, Zuzu, who was in It's a Wonderful Life, was the daughter in the movie also.
Oh, okay.
And the kid who's the head of the snowball fight,
Yes.
he's the young George Bailey.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So there's a lot of
crossover.
Crossover there.
Right.
But it's a great movie. Absolutely great movie. Great flow. Just the way it's
now,
done.
is this broadcast like all time or just like Turner Classic Movies?
It's actually free if you have Amazon Prime.
Yeah, it's on Prime.
free
I got that.
right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, I think you can catch the pause on Hulu right now. Everybody flipped out about that. Come on, we didn't talk about that. That Ranger game being on ESPN Plus. Oh,
yeah.
my God.
Oh, people.
You know
lost
what?
their
They did a lot of people a favor by not putting the game on. So
That's true.
it's fine.
And you know what's funny is that the person who lost his mind the most about it was Robbie Giambardo, who's 22 years old.
Yeah.
You'd think he'd be the most excited about a game streaming. You know, he's supposed to be the
Right.
the new wave. You know, and everybody's like, "What the fuck's the problem? Everything streams. What's the
He
big
probably
deal?"
doesn't have the $14 a month to pay for Disney
true.
Plus and
Right.
all that other stuff. That's probably
Yeah, I got the
problem.
Hulu bundle.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna
what I
grab
got.
some TV.
Yeah, I mean it's
Well, that game was doomed from the beginning. I'm going to tell you why. The play-by-play guy that Bob was using, I've been listening to Jet games on the radio for like the last 30 years. This guy is the voice of losing. Anything he announces for me, it's either a Jet interception, the Jets fumble, it's a butt fumble. Wischusen fixed it right from the beginning. But I will say, and I don't know if you guys saw the game, I thought the clarity and the picture of the game was phenomenal. Did you guys see this?
they
game?
show different angles than the MSG show. They showed angles from behind the net.
Yeah, people are complaining about that too.
Which I don't like.
I don't
didn't
like that
it.
power
I mean, maybe
play.
I'm just a purist. I there's a lot of things. You know, when I watch a game, I like my angles the way they've always been. I don't like them changing things. I don't like seeing it from a certain way. But everyone has their own
You're
opinion.
a big-time podcaster now. You're running that big show over there.
Yeah, right.
No,
Yeah, well, my partner right now, Sean Stein. He's in COVID protocol right now, so we haven't been able to.
Well, we hope it gets better.
Yeah. So we haven't been able to put something together.
Wow.
But
I mean,
It's a
I know
spinoff.
you.
They're like the Jeffersons.
yeah, good point.
We're like
It's a good
calling
one.
a family a podcast.
You are. You definitely are. You
Rock
guys
and
were
Sean have
first.
a podcast. Brian Attard has a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You guys
but
were definitely the first.
We're the all in the family.
No, but these guys I'd listen to. Brian Attard, I'm not so sure. But I listen to these guys.
Thank you.
Brian,
We appreciate it.
I
We
love
appreciate it.
Brian.
We
I'm only
appreciate it.
fucking
Any
old.
it's great. But listen, we can talk about Christmas movies all night. I mean, there's a ton. I mean, there's a lot of good ones.
You can talk with
Have
Jim
you
about
seen?
them.
What do you think of A Miracle on 34th Street?
I like that.
No, I love that movie. We just
It has
watched that.
to,
the other
but
night.
it has to be in black and white. The
Has-
stupid
Yeah, the
original
black and
color.
white version.
Have you ever seen the version with
Aquafina?
I lost his name. Sebastian Cabot.
Oh, the guy from Family Affair?
Mr. Fred, yeah, the guy that played Rock You Froze.
Yeah. Can you hear me still though?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Yeah, I don't know what's going
on. So just talk.
All right. I have not seen that one. What year did that one come out?
Early 70s. I think it was actually a TV movie. I've only watched it once. It's not that good. No, I'll only watch the original.
Yeah. No, I mean it's one of my go-to favorites, and it's funny. He actually won as a supporting actor for that role. Which was amazing for playing Santa Claus in a movie. So,
and who played the girl in there? Cool. That famous actress Natalie Wood.
Natalie Wood.
Natalie Wood is the little girl, and Maureen O'Hara is the mother. And of course, she's fantastic.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
Holy moly! And she was a little sex kitten back in the day.
She just passed away not that long ago.
About
4 or 5 years ago. She was in her late 90s.
What about this controversy that Die Hard is not a Christmas movie?
It's not a Christmas movie.
You know what? People have to. Why do I have to have this forced down my throat every fucking year that people think Die Hard is a Christmas movie? If you think it's a Christmas movie and you like watching it at Christmas, fine. I don't care. Go right ahead.
I don't think it's a Christmas movie.
I like to get people riled.
But everywhere I look, it's forced down my throat. This is the only Christmas movie there is. Get the fuck out of here. Who the fuck cares? Go watch it. Lethal Weapon, by the same token, Lethal Weapon's a Christmas movie. Grumpy Old Men is a Christmas movie. Who cares? Yeah. Watch what you want to watch.
Exactly.
Every year, it's all over social media. Oh, it's not Christmas until Hans Gruber falls off the tower. Who cares?
Because it happened at a Christmas party. It's a Christmas movie.
Right. And that's fine. I get it. That's fine.
It doesn't have a Christmas message.
There's no Christmas theme to that movie
message?
at all.
Right.
I'm not sure.
I mean, at least Lethal Weapon, when the girl jumps off the ledge in the beginning, Jingle Bell Rock is playing. And she jumps off if she goes off the ledge. And the house is all decorated for Christmas. But every year I gotta hear from it's all over the place. It's Die Hard is my favorite Christmas movie. Okay, great.
Godfather, Michael and Kay are walking outside FAO Schwartz or whatever they're walking outside. Is that a Christmas movie? No.
Yeah, well, the new movie they just put out, the Saints in Newark, at the funeral, they're playing Whatever Happened to Christmas by Sinatra. I mean, you can go on and on about this.
Right. I'm not even sure that's the Sopranos movie.
Was not a fan, but I heard you have to watch it at least one more time to give yourself a valid opinion with that.
I don't need 2.5 of my. I'm not. No, I've seen it. I've seen enough. Yeah. All right, let's talk some hockey now that we got you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I know you were posing the question on the interwebs. Are the Rangers a team that can't close games now? What do you think?
I go back and forth with this. I mean, I think the expectations are through the roof right now. I think if we would have came into this season and they were in the thick of things, fighting for a playoff spot, I think most of us would be thrilled about that. But I think the fact that they came out of the gate so well and are playing so good and are in the tops of the league, you expected more. And I feel they've come up lame against good teams. They've blown multiple leads, third period leads, 2-goal leads on many of occasions. And, I think the expectations are through the roof at this point. So when I originally posed that question, I was like, I was disappointed. I was pissed. I was annoyed about the Vegas game, and I said, what do we expect from this team? What's the expectations? Are we concerned about them not holding leads? And I think the biggest question, and I guess the ultimate answer is no. I mean, we shouldn't be concerned. The team is still young. The team is still learning. Guys have been in and out. I mean, obviously, Shesterkin's been hurt, and they went 6-3-1. With him, being injured, which I think we would all sign up for, and three of the losses were against very good teams. So, I mean, like I said, you look at their losses this season, especially their regulation losses. They were all against top end teams, and then you look at the the Edmonton loss and the Vancouver loss in overtime, and they had a two goal lead going into the third period in both of those games, and they blew it.
Right.
So I think the team is young. They need to address Dryden Hunt needs to get off those top two lines. God bless him. God bless his effort. God bless everything he's given them. He's hurting Panarin and Strome. He's hurting that line. He can't handle the puck.
He's better than I thought he would be,
right.
But he's not a top 6 guy.
No, he's hurting that line. Kravtsov leaving, and I did not hear the beginning of the show, and I'm sure you addressed this. Kravtsov leaving and going to the KHL completely derailed their top 9.
Yes.
Long term. Because you go down to Hartford, and no pun intended, Morgan Barron is it. Otherwise, they're barren down there from the forward perspective. There's nothing down. There's no other forward down there other than Morgan Barron that you can call up and plug into your bottom 6 to play. And you really can't move anyone up. I mean, they tried moving Goudreau up, it didn't work. Maybe they'll move Hedl up to play on that line. You can't. You have to try something because you get nothing out of him.
Right.
I mean, you guys said it. I mean, his 5th season, and you're not seeing any progression.
Yeah, we mentioned that last week or the week before. It just kind of snuck up on it. It was like all of a sudden, like, holy shit, this is his 5th year. 5 years we're waiting on this guy now?
Yeah. He can't finish. I mean, how many games, guys? I mean, how many games have we seen? He gets robbed 3 times a season that I can think of. I mean, flat out robbed. Goalie sticks his stick out, it hits the nub of his stick and goes over the net. Either that or he shoots the puck wide. You know, there's it's frustrating because the kid has talent.
The goalie is completely out of the picture.
That too. But this team has been guilty of that all season. I mean, how many robs we saw Jeremy Swayman had 3 in the Boston game alone that they won. That game should have been a blowout. You saw the Finnish goalie against Buffalo, Rob Kreider on the doorstep. Matt Murray did at the beginning of the year.
That was the game I was just trying to think of. Kreider got robbed twice in that game.
Yeah, Ottawa. And they were lucky to come back and beat that team. The other thing with is we used to criticize them because they're like, you know, they always played well and they'd lose. Well, now they're not playing their greatest and they're winning. So,
right.
You know, where's the line where you got to kind of have to take the good with the bad.
Right.
It is what it is. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. You know, it sucks when they play such a great second period against Vegas, and you kind of feel like they're in the driver's seat of the game, and then all of a sudden it's tied because Hedl blows his assignment as far as I'm concerned. He should have never went out to that defense and whatever. And then they lose. The shootout is fantastic. I'm not the shootout. The 3-on-3 is fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
That 3-on-3 was insane.
Yeah. It was very reminiscent of the Toronto overtime that they won.
Yes.
And that's you know.
And there were articles everywhere about how the 3-on-3 needs to be fixed because teams just lollygag and hold on to the puck. And you get something like that, and it's spectacular.
Right.
My faith is renewed.
Well, yeah, because what happens is the 3-on-3 starts, and you've got one team trying to just play keep away to the point where, you know, now it's become a set play, for lack of a better term, where the defenseman drops the puck back to the goalie, you know, on a pass. I'm still waiting for that to backfire on somebody, but they'll drop the puck back so the teams can change, and they tend to start off very conservative while one team plays keep away, but then it seems like then the other team will get a takeaway. And then all hell breaks loose at both ends of the ice. It's like something just triggered. They seem very formulatic, whatever that word is. It seems like they start off one team playing very conservative, trying to play keep away, and just waiting for something to just kind of spring them. But then there's a takeaway, and the puck goes the other way, and then all hell breaks loose both ways.
Right.
I mean, that was just insane against Vegas, especially the way they played the way the Rangers played the third period in that game, which was terrible. I think they had 2 shots on goal, one of them coming from Ryan Lindgren with about a minute and a half or 2 minutes to go in the game, and then for a third period, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of the 3-on-3.
They had 3 shots total in the third period of that game.
It was.
I'm not the biggest fan of the 3-on-3. I love watching it. It's heart stopping. It's great, but I'd still rather watch 10 minutes of that than watch a shootout.
I agree.
And the Rangers shootout. Who was in that?
I hated the Rangers selections in the shootout. By the way,
it was
Kakko,
Zibanejad, and Strome.
Guys got 5 goals. Zibanejad, I could see he had a good game. And who was the last guy?
Strome.
You had no Panarin.
All right, you had no Panarin.
I mean,
I know Chris Kreider stinks on breakaways, but when you have your leading goal scorer and he's not even in the fucking equation for shootouts.
Didn't we witness Chris Kreider's first shootout attempt this year or something?
The Devils game.
Yeah.
Right.
The Devils game. Yeah.
I didn't like the Kakko. Why? Character building. He's got 5 goals.
How many guys have a lot of goals on this team? I mean, Chris Kreider has 18, right, and I think the next closest guy has 9.
You know, why not? I would have just put Adam Fox up there first.
Maybe.
I don't have a problem with no Panarin. I don't have a problem with the guys they picked.
All right.
They're very thin. They're very thin.
They don't have a lot.
Panarin, listen, any team that loses. Well, I'm sorry. What were we saying?
I was going to say, other than Zibanejad, they really have no guys who can. I mean, Panarin's great in the shootout, but he hasn't shown a lot of finish. He's more of a passer here. It doesn't seem like,
it's more of the same.
Yeah, it's whatever. So, what were you going to say, Rob?
No, I was just going to say, you take your best player out. I said they look very thin, but you take your best player out of any lineup. I guess you're going to look thin and you're going to look weak up front anyway. But the team without Panarin just looks like, they can't win a game. But they played Vegas tough. I mean, they got a point. I mean, what more? I don't know what else. There's really, the team had played, 9 games in 12 nights, or 9 games in 13 nights, something crazy like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I said at the top of the show, I mean, they played the last 3 games, they haven't really played well at all and still managed to get 3 points out of it.
So, the Arizona game, I mean,
that was a heist.
Shocked to see how poorly they played in that game.
They should have ran over that team.
And
a bad team. I mean, Arizona's a bad team. I'm sure the crowd was 75% Ranger fans. To play like that, I don't know. I mean, it was just
the thing that seems to be a carryover that we've seen now for 3 coaches. The first period, they just don't show up. I mean, it doesn't matter who the coach is behind the net. With the exception of the Philly game, they have not played well in the first period. I mean, even the Colorado game, they were up 2-1, and they were fortunate to be up 2-1. They got hit 18 shots on goal in the first period.
Right.
I mean, this team comes out in the first period, and they are completely dominated every single game. Now, what is that? Is that preparation? Is it just they know that they can just turn it on whenever they want? But we've seen it under Quinn. We saw it under AV. This team is not ready to start games. And one of these days, it's going to come back to bite them in the ass. They're going to get 4 goals in the first period and not be able to come back. So I don't know. I don't know what the process is with that.
I would have to look at the players who played for under those 3 coaches. I mean, at this point, I thought the Rangers predominantly before Shesterkin, Ellis Shesterkin got barraged in the first couple of weeks. There's no doubt about it. But I felt like they rectified that goal before I sit down thing that was happening under Quinn. You'd sit in your seat and the puck would be in the net. You're like, what the fuck just happened here? But a lot of things have broken down. But I'm going with your positive vibe because they've been doing this without their starting goalie. And a lot of teams, they can't even keep their heads above water once they lose their starter.
Right.
And they're doing it with Dryden Hunt on their second line.
I know, but
with a 4th line player,
he's got a good motor.
Second line.
He's got a good motor.
I mean, until they address that problem, they're not going anywhere. There's no way. There's no way that they can sustain that.
Well, you could have had.
You can have Dryden Hunt play against Philly, against the Islanders, against Phoenix or the bad teams. But when it comes down to crunch time and he's playing. Panarin's their best player, so most matchups are going to go through him. So when you're matching up against Roman Josi and Drew Doughty and all the great defensemen in the league. Dryden Hunt just can't hold on to the puck against bad defensemen. He's going to play against good defensemen. They need to address that. And until they do, to me, this team is going to fall short.
Yeah, again,
we'll see.
It's the coach's favorites. We saw Jesper Foss.
There's no one else to put there. Lafreniere can't play on his off wing. We've already established that. He doesn't want to do it. He's not comfortable with it. They're not going to force it. I mean, maybe eventually they'll put Gauthier up there. They'll give him a shot. But I think they like Hunt because he digs in the corner and he does dirty work. It's that stuff Gauthier doesn't do. So pick your poison.
Well, I still think
we might see Lafreniere get a shot at center at some point.
Think so. Maybe you never know. I mean, I just don't understand the drafting of the drafting of this team. To me, the logic behind it. You brought up Olaf Lindbaum. I mean, their strategy in picking goalies in the second round has not worked in the last 15 years. I mean, Brendan Halverson, Anton LaFleur, just to name a couple.
Yeah.
And they just refuse to draft centermen. I just don't get it. Every team in this league, look at Vegas. They paid a king's ransom. They gave up Peyton Krebs to get Jack Eichel. You need elite centers to win. I mean, teams don't win without elite centermen down the middle. I mean, with maybe the exception of St. Louis, every team that's won the cup in the last 15 years have been so strong down the middle.
Okay. Well, so you're not sold on Zibanejad being elite?
I'm not sold on
the
Ryan
coach
Strome
thinks
yet.
he's elite.
This is my problem, and I've said this a magnitude of times. When the games get big and the games get tough, so far their big players have come up small. In the bubble, last year against the Islanders, last year against Boston at the end of the year, Washington at the start this season, Colorado twice. Every time a game has gotten hard or tough, their big boys have vanished. You don't notice them. You don't see them on the ice. They're just non-existent. So until those guys show me that they can play in a big spot, I'm not going to trust it and I don't believe it. And that's why I told people, I go, listen, Ryan Strome's a nice player. He's a great guy. I've met him personally. He's a wonderful person and a wonderful teammate. I'm not sure if this team, as presently constituted in their top six, are good enough to win a championship. I have to see it.
Should they be held to that degree? I mean, I'm looking at just making the playoffs. Are they good enough to make the playoffs?
They're good enough to make the playoffs.
They're good enough to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that's
they're definitely good enough to make the playoffs
this year.
I understand that, but when you start tying up big money, now you already tied up Zibanejad, so you're stuck. I'm not saying you're stuck, but you have him locked up. Now you want to lock up Ryan Strome for possibly 5 years. That's going to come at the expense of other people and other moves you can't make. So you lock up Strome this offseason, you have essentially the same team this year you're going to have next year because you have zero cap space.
Right.
So you got to figure out whether or not this core group of guys, as presently constituted, can win a big game before you start locking up all these guys long term. Panarin included. Panarin's not come up big in big games the last 2 years. His first season, he was money. Islanders, Washington, Boston, you name it, he came up big. Last year, this year, not as much. We all see it. Guys hit the age of 30, they start creeping down. I don't care who you are, unless you're maybe Ovechkin.
Right.
But that's it.
Or Messi.
Until I see that, I'm not going to be convinced.
Well, I think the hope is from their thing is Kakko and Lafreniere have to step up. That's what they've counted on. You can keep it status quo, but if Lafreniere is scoring 25 to 30 goals and Kakko's in the 20 to 25 range, everything is solved. But that's not happening. And so
Eddie, the problem I think right now is they're not lining up properly right now. You got Zibanejad, Panarin, Strome, Kreider. Their young players are not ready to take that next step yet. They're not there yet. They're too young. If they were 22, 23, 24, and they were in their meat of their 20s, but you got Lafreniere, who's 19, you got Kakko, who's 20, Heedle's still fairly young at 22, Miller's 21. I mean, they still got a lot. Lundqvist is 21. So their young players have not been able to take that next step to help push or help the older players to take it to that next level. You're still relying, and for everyone that wanted Chris Kreider and Jacob Trouba and Zabinajad and Strom and all these guys gone, they're essentially carrying the team, especially Kreider and Trouba. Without those two guys this year, and obviously Igor, this team would be I don't know where they'd be right now. They're essentially carrying this team. So we'll see.
Hopefully the pause will end soon, and we'll get to see what actually happens. But I don't think it's going to help the Rangers. The pause. I don't think the pause is going to help anybody. I mean, I know everybody's saying, Rangers will get healthy, but
right.
So everybody
and
else.
Costa makes a great point. I don't know who they get. It's who they get. The problem is do you want to keep locking up guys who you know can't get you to the next level? They don't know that yet because the only thing we've seen is how this team played in the bubble, and they did not play well, and they've not played well against good teams. But we'll see. The second half of the season, now listen, they come back, they play Detroit, which is going to hopefully be a nice tune-up game to get the rust off. And then it's a whirlwind, guys. It's Florida, Tampa, Edmonton. And I think they play Vegas. So you're talking about you're talking about 5-6 games in a row where if you're not on your game, you know, they can lose a lot of points right there. So we're going to definitely see what this team is made of. They're going to be healthy and ready to roll.
Quick thoughts on Gallant. I had
I like him. I think, like you said, he's a little too reliant on certain players. Barclay Goodrow playing on the 3-on-3 makes no sense to me. I don't get it. I don't understand it. He has zero. I mean, let's put it this way. I saw more offensive talent out of Freddie Sjustrom and Harry York than I see out of Barclay Goodrow. He is not offensively gifted.
You invoke the name of
Freddie Sjustrom,
Harry York.
He is an absolute wonder.
Harry York was on Bewitched, wasn't he?
That's Dick York. He's great in the penalty kill. He's great on 5-on-5. He digs in the corners. He has the hands. I mean, he just can't. He can't stick handle. He can't shoot. It's just that's not his thing. He should not be playing on the 3-on-3. So that's my first beef. I think as well as Ryan Reeves has played, I think he pounds them out there way too much. You're going to wear this guy down. He's 34 years old.
Let me just say,
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of the goon hockey player that can only fight. He's played well this year. I'll eat crow. He's played much better than I ever expected him to.
Me too.
Much better than I ever expected him to. But I want to save the guy, too. This guy's not used to playing 80 games.
No, you're right.
You can't play this guy 80 games.
Well, he never fights, so you don't have to worry about that.
All right, so let me ask you this. So against a really good opponent, like, I don't know, Florida or Carolina, do you need Ryan Reeves in the lineup? Wouldn't you rather have another guy similar to Kevin Rooney, or you get a guy to take Hunt's spot and Hunt plays on your fourth line? I mean, I understand Reeves has been great. He's drawn penalties. He's made some phenomenal plays. He's impressed me more than I ever imagined him to. But he's not an 80-game player.
He's also,
and if you want this guy for the big games to play well, and it also didn't help that he got his ass kicked the other night against Colorado. That guy ragdolled.
A little rusty.
But I think Reeves definitely played better than I thought he would. So I'll definitely give him that. But we'll see. I mean,
well, you know, I'm not.
But to answer your question, I do like Gallant. What he's done so far. I think
you like Gallant.
He's pushed the right buttons.
Because there seems to be a controversy on how to say
Gallant. I guess it's Gallant now.
It's been called Gerard Gallant 35 years.
40 years.
The Rangers just scored. Actually, that means Jen just texted me. She has the goal for a text tone.
Well, Rock, I gotta say,
your goal horn thing went off?
No, that's my text tone for her is the goal horn.
You.
See, there she goes again.
That's very cool. That's awesome. So so now all of a sudden he's Gallant now. So all right, whatever.
Joe was calling him Gallant the other night.
It's Gallant now, apparently.
Yeah, they're calling him Gallant now.
All the beat writers it came out, and someone was calling him Gallant. And then all the beat writers asked him, well, what is the name? It's really pronounced Gallant, but I don't really care what you call me.
It's Gallant.
I mean, he's Gallant for 40 years, and now all of a sudden he's Gallant. Okay.
It's just stupid. It's the same thing with that Thomas Hurdle shit. That fucking
Tomas Hurdle.
Thomas.
Who was the guy the other night? They were talking about his name for a half hour.
Dadonov.
Dadonov.
Yeah.
It
was Danonov. Or it's Danonov. How do they pronounce it now? It was Danonov for 5 years or 10 years. How long the guy's played? Now it's Danonov.
Joe, we might have to get John Giannone to ask him on the bench. How do you pronounce his name?
What about Boris and Dmitry Mironov? One of them was Mironov. The other one was Moranov.
Yeah.
I mean, they're brothers. They pronounce their names differently.
And it's so funny with that Thomas Hurdle. He scored 4 goals against the Rangers, I think, in 2013.
He ended Marty Biron's career.
Yeah.
He sent Goran into retirement.
Yeah.
And I'm watching like NHL Network, and he's on there, and he's like, "Hi, I'm Thomas Hurdle. I scored 4 goals against the New York Rangers." He says Thomas. Why you Sam? It's not Thomas. Stop looking at that media guide, you moron. And
There's a guy on.
How would they realize there was no ref?
Know.
There was only one ref for 2 periods in the other game.
It's bad. It's so bad. You know, though, you say to yourself, at one point you got.
Did I miss something there, Joe?
Oh God,
that was
so bad.
We didn't realize why there were 3 players on an overtime. It was the preseason game, and he forgot they went 3-on-3 in the overtime. He goes, "Am I missing something here?
Am I missing something?
Did they take a penalty?"
The best part about that was they didn't even notice that there was a referee missing. They had to be told there was a referee missing.
But yeah, he got stuck somewhere.
I don't know.
I forgot what happened with that.
He was in a house of ill repute.
God. I just, for the life of me, don't understand even how Joel Micheletti has a job with the Rangers. St. Louis Blue is doing color for the New York Rangers, an original 6 franchise. I understand the history isn't rich. We don't have a lot of championships, but I just, for the life of me, can't figure out how a St. Louis Blue is doing color for the Rangers.
Bring back Expo to do the color.
I will take any ex-Ranger to do the color. I want to hear stories. I want people that know about the franchise. He knows nothing about the history of the team.
Right. No.
Terrible. He's a St. Louis Blue.
It's like the airing of grievances, like the fest.
It's so bad.
All right,
Brock.
Guys, Merry
real
Christmas.
quick and wrap this up.
Yes, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. If I don't talk to you, it was a pleasure talking to you guys. I apologize I haven't been on. The babies eat at 7 p.m. So a lot of times I'm burnt by then. So
I don't doubt.
It was great talking to you though.
Take care.
Keep me posted. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye. Good night. All right. Let's talk to Connor real quick. We'll wrap this up.
We're over 2 hours here today.
Free. Oh, by the way,
you're in the back. She's like, "Oh, you're taking too long."
She actually doesn't sound like that, and she didn't say it like that. But
keep the change.
What's going on with you, Connor?
Oh,
can't hear you.
He's muted.
You're muted.
I have to mute. I have to mute everybody when they come up in our studio, because as soon as they come up in the studio, you can hear them. You can't see them, but you can hear them. So sometimes
the first time I ever yawned on the air.
Joe Fortunato is here. The yawner.
All right, Johnny, can you give me a 1, 2, 10 count that you can hear me before you shoot me?
We can hear you.
We can hear you on the air, baby.
There we are. But anyway, first off, before we get to the Rangers, I will say Die Hard's a Christmas movie. That's just me, and I hope that next time Jacob Trouba plays the Islanders, I hope he says "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker" to one of the other players,
and then lays out Matthew Barzal.
I should also add that it is one day before the oh-so-great holiday of Festivus, And I would like to add to my list of grievances the oh-so-terrible Jim Dolan for how he handled his rebuild.
That he handled what? I missed that.
Handled the Rangers rebuild.
I think the rebuild is over.
What rebuild?
What rebuild? We moved on from that. Now it's playoffs or die.
Well, I mean, that's the thing I can say about this organization is that I said the last time I called in that I was not super confident about how we play against good teams like Nashville and Colorado. And don't get me wrong, I'm more than happy that we're taking out all the shitty teams, but those shitty teams that we're running circles around, they're not going to be the ones that we play in May and June. So, like, can we go 7 games against these better teams? I don't know.
Well, first of all, I wouldn't worry too much about how they're playing or who they're playing in June, because unless this pause lasts a long time, they're not playing in June.
That's fair.
I think if they get to the playoffs and win a round, I would consider this a very successful season.
I would agree.
Okay.
And they're most likely going to play somebody in their division, in their conference.
Right. I don't think the Rangers are going to. I don't think the Rangers are going to play a part in your Memorial Day weekend plans. Let me put it that way, and that's fine. I'm okay with that.
We just want to see. The organization and from the fans' perspective. Yeah, I mean, you're talking about Colorado. That's a stacked team. That's a team that people are picking to win the Stanley Cup. A team that they're a heavy team. They're a good team. They got McKinnon and Landeskog and all these guys pitching in. Burakovsky. They've got Mikko Rantanen. They got Cale Makar. These guys are stars. Our stars are not as glimmering as their stars. They also have a culture of winning. The Rangers have no culture of winning. The Nashvilles, they're a tough team. They're going to try to bottle you up. I expect the Rangers to win one of these games. I don't want to see them keep losing to Calgary. Well, not they're going to play Calgary anymore. I don't even know. But yes, their showings against the Leafs weren't too good. They haven't played well against the top teams. But you know what it all comes down to? How the Rangers play against the Islanders. And
it's all that matters, baby.
And
I would agree. I'm more than happy to see the Islanders at the bottom of the Metropolitan Division, which they deserve, playing in unbelievable Bowel Syndrome Arena. But nonetheless, I mean, I think that we are where we are in the first few games of the season. We're riding on Chris Kreider, and we were riding on Igor Shesterkin.
Ride Igor, ride him. Teams have ridden on goalies before. Ride him. You got the best goalie, ride him. Before he went out, he was not facing 40 shots a night. They had gotten the shots on goal down. I have confidence that they will readjust the ship. Now, readjusting the ship doesn't mean they're going to go, 10-game winning streak. But I think there's enough bad teams or equal to teams for the Rangers to do well. But to me, if they lose to the Islanders and how bad those Islanders are playing, that will completely deflate the fan base. If Matt Martin and Casey Cizikas and that other guy, Kyle Clutterbuck, they run roughshod on the Rangers and no response from Reeves, that will deflate the Ranger fan more than anything. We all know the Ranger fan attitude really will get deflated against the rivals. And right now, because the Devils are just inconsequential as far as I'm concerned, with the rivalry, the Caps and Islanders are the key.
Well, Jack Hughes 8 years when he's not proven.
Well, I mean, He's 20. What is he? 20 years old? I mean, and he's been injured he has shown me, and the stats will bear it out, a lot more than Kako or Lafreniere have. I mean, he's a first-line center. He plays their first-line power play. I mean, I'm here to debate the great Jack Hughes debate of 2021, but I just feel that the Rangers lose to those two teams, and if Tom Wilson gets away with murder again, and the bell is not sounded on that, we're going to be upset, ridiculous of win or losses. And I think the Rangers will be fine. I think the Rangers will make the playoffs.
I actually want to make a quick point on Washington, if you guys don't mind.
Go ahead. Do another bit on me or what? What are you doing here?
Well, this is not a bit. This is actually more of an announcement.
Actual commentary? All right, I want to hear this.
Well, actually, the reason why my Wi-Fi is relatively mediocre is I moved to Washington.
You're going to do a bit, aren't you?
No, this is not a bit, but I moved to Washington, D.C. a year ago, and I'm now a Virginia resident just outside D.C. So next time I go to a Capitals game, I could go around wearing a T-shirt saying "Fuck Tom Wilson."
Well, you'll probably get your ass beat.
What are you doing down there?
He's a representative.
I got a job down here, and
he's in Congress.
It's in Congress.
Well, I can certainly
voted down the Build Back Better bill.
Congress.
Well, I can certainly say that I've called you guys from the state capitol, and in the near future, I will call you guys from the federal capitol.
Ooh, he's a man of mystery, Jim.
Oh.
Yeah,
I don't know. Either I'm off my nut or he is, or you are.
This episode of Where the Fuck is Andy Pettit?
How are you going to make it to a viewing party when we have one?
The train.
Give me a week's notice.
You're going to take that as
I'll take the train up. I'll figure it out.
Isn't that a new strain of COVID? The Excella?
The Excella. That's the next one. That's the next one.
Oh yeah.
I heard it's expensive to live there in Washington. You got that kind of coin?
I'm living just outside there. I'm living in Virginia in a more reasonably priced range.
Oh, okay.
Like Arlington?
Yeah. Yes, actually.
In Arlington?
Yeah, that's actually where my office is.
Oh.
Wait a minute.
Ooh! Hold on a second now. I'm calling you from my office.
What are you, an author or something? You're acting all highbrow.
His office.
All right. Well, Con, I got to say, I thought you worked at a gas station, but apparently you've exceeded my expectations. You're a man living in Arlington. You're a great guy and a great addition. I wish you a Merry Christmas to you and yours. Or a Hanukkah.
Well,
fuck you celebrating.
Hanukkah.
Hanukkah, but I would
Hanukkah.
also
Happy Hanukkah.
I would also like to say another thing on my very long list of grievances for this Festivus. Rangers' lack of center depth. And I said specifically, outside of Mika Zibanejad, that the Rangers lack center depth. Now, don't get me wrong. Ryan Strome has certainly exceeded expectations. But outside of that, the Rangers really need to make adjustments in that position.
Duly noted, sir.
All right. Go drain the swamp or whatever it is you're doing there. We'll talk to you soon.
There you go.
Merry Christmas, buddy.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Take care.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Well, Jim, I got to say, this one was for the ages. 2.5, almost 2.5
We haven't done 2.5 hours in a long time. Merry Christmas from us to you, to the BSU.
Yeah. Well, you can watch this all through Christmas and New Year's if you want.
Right.
It's long of show.
I'll be in bed in 15 minutes.
Me, I'm gonna stretch out my arm and go to sleep. Well, I mean, stretch out my arm isn't code for anything. I'm literally gonna stretch out my arm. But,
all right. Well, that about wraps it up, kids. I hope you enjoyed yourselves.
Yeah, it's.
Oops, sorry, wrong button.
We found out a lot about each other.
We did.
I don't like Charlie Brown. You're a bigger Hall & Oates fan than I am. All right, there's nothing wrong with working at a gas station. I worked at a gas station.
Maybe I'm not a big. I just think I'm more vocal about my affection for them. How's
You love that yacht rock.
Oh, I do.
You love that.
I don't think Hall & Oates are yacht rock, but that's just me. All right. Thanks again to Russ Cohen for being here. What's that?
I'm saying the Merry Christmas to Patty Duke.
Oh.
Or a Happy Holiday, whatever the fuck they say.
Thanks, everybody, for being here. We love you. The podcast will be up in the morning. Merry Christmas to all of you. We will see you at some point next week, I'm sure. If we get hockey back, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll still be on the air, talk about other shit.
Let's start a new bracket of misery.
Merry Christmas, Lizzie. Fair.
Eddie, Merry Christmas to you and Chris. And
Cutsy.
Have a good one.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Boxing Day, Cutsy.
Yeah, happy Boxing Day, brother.
We'll see you guys soon. Good night, everybody.
Good night.